My name is Elle, and I'm with Jennifer. We'll do a little brief introduction here in just a minute. I really just want to say thank you all for joining us. This is a nice, friendly conversation where we really can just hang out for a few minutes and talk shop about things that are happening in the industry. So the NKBA has invested quite a bit of time and money into evolving this podcast into helping you all grow your businesses and however that is. So we're really dedicated to the kitchen and bath industry where we have the opportunity to reach all types of people. So the podcast is really something that gives you access to different type of folks. CEOs from different companies where you can get insights, tips and tricks from everyone in the industry. So it's really meant to be super exciting with some hard-hitting facts, take some deep dives on a conversation. Do you have anything you want to add, Jennifer?
Always. So my biggest thing in life is if you take the time to listen to something, it better enlighten you and somewhat entertain you. And our goal is that it doesn't provide fluff, that it provides real content and real discussions about things that are going on in the industry. And it also puts you in front of people that every day you might not get to hang out with, but also discussing some of those big topics in our industry like skilled labor issues. But before we get into that, let us introduce the two of ourselves. We're slowly morphing into the same person, I think. I just joke and say I'm her before photo. But Elle, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell them your background in design.
Awesome. So my name is Elle Maillard. I am a staffer with NKBA, and I'm also one of the NKBA insiders, which does some trend spotting across the world, which is really exciting. So we deliver content to media and help spread awareness about NKBA as an authority in the industry and really moving and shaking and disrupting some things that are happening as far as innovation and products of the future and technology, all those types of things. So that is my job at NKBA, as well as connecting the community together. So brands and designers, manufacturers, reps, etc. We try to bring this community together for different kinds of events. We have a big old event called KBIS, which hopefully you all know about. And it's one of the best kitchen and bath shows in the industry. But more than that, it's an opportunity to really connect with all types of people. There's fashion designers walking the show floor at KBIS. It's pretty impressive. So I come from a background in commercial design where I had designed restaurants for a lot of campuses and also was on HGTV's Design Star like 10 years ago. So I have a design background. I share a passion similar to you all and hope that we can just share this together and have a nice little chat. So enough about me. I'm going to ask you to talk about yourself a little bit, Jen.
Yay. So I'm Jennifer Bertrand. I was on Design Star after Elle, and I won season 3 where 5 million people vote for you, which works out great. And then I won a Huffington Post national thing for Ariana Huffington's book. And then now I do a show helping wounded veterans. But I've been designing for 18 years. I'm working on 2 houses in Costa Rica, another house in Roatan, and then as well as like 3 multi-million-dollar show houses right now. So I kind of vary in residential, but I still take on the real life jobs of people who can only afford a smaller $5,000 makeover. So I try to hit all aspects of it. But Elle and I both come from this of true passion for design. So we try to make it entertaining, but we really want it to be very knowledgeable because we take this industry very seriously. So some of the podcasts we're talking about is one that is going to be coming out is one where I talked about like intellectual property. And that's a very serious topic in our industry of people making a name off of other people's work or, stealing people's images. So we really start talking about how to protect it and things you can do. Elle, what are some of the podcasts you've done and you're excited about?
Yeah, so I did a podcast with The Connected Home where I interviewed the CEO from Josh AI, which was super exciting. To have insight and be able to pick his brain about what's happening now in the kitchen and bath industry, as well as what's coming in the future, is really, really exciting and inspirational to see how we can work together with integrators in these spaces. So that was a pretty cool podcast. And one that I'm really excited about is coming up. We're going to be recording fairly soon and launching within the next month is the psychology of a showroom. and how you really enter the showroom. Where does your mind go? The psychology of how you sell to people. I think that's really, really important. And whether you take a step back, Rob Best will be the subject matter expert on this. And he's really, really insightful. So I've had a chance to pick his brain before. I'm just super excited to talk to him and dive into the psychology. I hope he doesn't pick my brain too much. But other than that, I hope that that's going to be a really exciting podcast. How about you? You have some
I did one about the showroom must go on. So just to feed off of showrooms. And it really is about how to re-inspire those in your showroom and how to kind of run a showroom. But we don't only focus on that aspect. We also talk about things like insiders finds at KBIS. So if you weren't able to attend KBIS, and I will say this year was a very large KBIS. It was hard to make it to everything. So the great part when you have podcasts like that is you may not have seen that booth or that product, but we're going to highlight it for you so you can look it up. That's the joy of social media. The world is at our fingertips. So we talked to the NKBA insiders about what they find interesting at KBIS this year and what to them is new and fresh and around the corner. And then, Elle, you did one on color, which obviously you can tell by the two of us, we might like color and pattern.
Yes, so that was a panel that was at KBIS. A lot of great experts there just talking about what's trending in color and how you should protect yourself about too much color or not enough color. So lots of great insight there. A lot of fun conversation. Everyone likes a little color in their life, right? So these are just some general topics. Ideally, we would like to get to have a conversation with you all, and we'll put it out there here before we go into too much. If you could start thinking about some topics that you would be interested in learning more about. And it's an opportunity where you don't really have to raise your hand and ask the question, but you can get like a free education from these podcasts just by typing some things in or sending an email to our production team. And we'll give you all that information before we wrap up.
Or if you want your brand to be heard and you want to be about sponsorship opportunities, of course, we're always into that. Feel free to go ahead and talk to NKBA sales. They can help you with that as well. But let's talk about where can they even hear the podcast? Because they're like, yes. Okay, this sounds good. Where are we going to do it? It's called KBTalks. And where can they find it?
So Google on the Soundcloud. There's an
that's flowing out of your mouth really quickly.
It soon will be available on Spotify. And let's see, that's not the first time we've heard that. Listen to the podcast here. Perfect. So our production team just put a little chat there that with a link to SoundCloud so you can download some of them here. There's tons of opportunities with these, and we're just super excited to hear from you and hear what it is you're looking for.
And Nancy said, can we add an extra day to KBIS? I know, right? Nancy, it's like the only time in life I get all my steps in, which I'm like, yes, 10,000, I've got 20. But one of the big things we saw at KBIS was they're really trying to do an initiative of the NKBA Global Connect. Their designers are really wanting to stand out. They want to like show off what's cool and new and different. And sometimes it's being ahead of the curve with some brands that are overseas. And so NKBA is trying to help make things easier that way. Elle, I know you know a little bit about that. So what would you add?
Yeah, so it's a way to be able to use these overseas brands as a resource and make it easier for those transactions to happen. So we're having a conversation with many brands, such as Boomer. We were just in Germany and talking about how that relationship works. So how do our designers, many of our designers don't understand the difference between Boomer and Hefele and Revashelf. They don't understand the inner workings there. So this is those types of ideas of sharing that so that we're not cutting out middle people, but we're getting them into the right resources properly so that they can use this information to better their business.
And just so you know, we're also available on Stitcher, but Dan writes on there that he'd like to hear a discussion with dealers and designers on what technologies they're looking for. And these are great topics because at KBIS, we did a topic of the generations in technology. And it was funny because Alex of Josh AI, the CEO, he was talking about some of his best clients are the older generations wanting technology, which is funny because a lot of people would think those are the people that are like, oh, technology, keep it away. However, it improved the way they lived. So simplified concepts so they could enter a space and do it. Now, I have one client right now who's like, everything's spying on me. And I like to remind my client that although they're interesting, they're not that interesting. But we have those discussions and those topics about what is going on in the industry with it.
Yeah, that's a great point. Does anyone else have some suggestions or a keynote speaker that you've heard at another event that you think would be a great expert for our podcast? We're really looking to see how we can grow the industry and make it a conversation with everyone. I know you all are kind of diverse. If you're interested in joining NKBA as a member, you can go to the website as well. There's going to be some new things happening. Our design competition is coming up, and you will get a free entry into the design competition if you are a member. So that's pretty exciting. And the prizes are also very exciting. First place is $10,000 and a spread in Lux magazine, which is pretty awesome. So something to consider if you are not a member of NKBA. It's a great place to start.
Well, and I'll add that. So I was an insider 2 years ago, and how I've seen the NKBA grow over the last couple of years is really huge, because sometimes what happens is organizations can become stagnant. And what the NKBA has done is they've really grown, they've really listened, and they've really evolved. So when I watched the competition entries last year, the caliber of projects that are being entered it's a vast difference from years ago. Nothing against years ago. It's just they're really trying to continue to up the bar and educate and reach larger groups of people.
Yeah, seriously, best in the nation. And this year will be the first year that we open it up to non-members, which is a big deal for us. So we believe in everyone out there and hope that we can see some of what you've done. So from Nancy, I've done a VFTI and would like to know how to further my ability to find speaking venues or team up with manufacturers. That actually could be a great topic, just to talk about other opportunities that are out there, not only through NKBA, but through other channels as well. So we could turn that potentially into a topic, a podcast topic. I don't know that that was the intention there, but I think that what your point is to figure out how to leverage yourself in the media and throughout the industry. I think that's a very good topic.
Well, and Elle, I always think some brands that have showrooms are always trying to get designers in the door, things like that. And CEUs were always a way to do that, or hosting NKBA chapter meetings and stuff like that. So sometimes it's having those conversations. The great thing is nothing you say is a wrong answer. And so what we're going to do is go through what you write and see what we can do that would reach that audience. And so we'll try to do it. Ooh, we're glad you guys are opening up and writing now. It always takes a couple people. Yeah.
I still see Nick posted in here about Showroom Design. So there will be a podcast that's coming up with Rob Best on the psychology of the showroom. And I think that would be really, really valuable for you just to listen to that. It's really about the seller, or the buyer, I'm sorry, and how they walk through the showroom and how they don't feel annoyed. So I think that will be a very good topic for you.
The goal of this is that we get so many requests for topics that we just continue making more podcasts. Every 2 weeks, a new podcast comes out. So we're going to keep them to where they're enough that they're fresh, but not so annoying that you're like, oh, I didn't want to be on that list. So we'll keep them moving every 2 weeks.
And Rose is asking a question also about showrooms. She can't afford all of the new technologies, but wants to include some of them into her showroom. Is there a way that we can partner with a manufacturer to place their items in a local brick and mortar showroom and reach the community and introduce them to the products? I think this is a great topic, and there are some things that we could discuss there on how to build a relationship with a brand.
And it's all about networking. That's why this is amazing. So for example, one person, I knew Elle Maillard. I meet this one person, and for years she would tell me about the NKBA, and I wasn't a member yet. And it was amazing how through one person, I became a member, became certified, became an insider, and then now I'm hosting the podcast. I always think it just takes one moment in life for those right things to happen, and it's just being aware of it. We talked to a group of students, and really, even for manufacturers, it's about being seen and heard at industry events.
For sure. And showing up to everything, which many of you do. I've seen so many of you at events that I'm at as well, Rose included. In Chicago, I saw you. So we have another question here. I have a luxury industry community, Powerhouse Smart and Midwest, love to talk with designer speakers. That's great. So NKBA has a plethora of designers. We have tons of people that would like to speak, and so that's that relationship that they would like to speak with you. Our production team can help you personally. Wendy, I know Wendy. So to make all of this happen, I think that these are really good ways to get involved, but we could also turn them into a conversation, because you are not the first person to have asked that. So I think that there are opportunities in which we can describe how we can make this happen. So it's not a personal conversation, it's a community conversation.
But I think ultimately, to make this relative to you, to where you'd go, this podcast is actually relevant to me. It's very important that any topics that you think you would love to hear about, nothing is dumb, throw them all out there, email them to nkba@flyingcamel.com. And that's right, it's Flying Camel. They're our amazing company out of Canada that helps us with marketing. But if you do that, that will help us make sure that this information is stuff you want to hear. And you can listen to it at the gym if you're super healthy, or while cleaning your house or driving to a meeting, as I would.
Oh, thanks, Wendy. She says, you ladies are powerful. Powerhouse is in the house. All right. So we're going to wrap it up. Again, if you'd like to become a member of NKBA, you can reach out to me directly at emillard@nkba.org, or you can go through Flying Camel. Either way, it's easy peasy. It's pretty inexpensive to join. You get a ton of member benefits.
And there's a link to the podcast in the chat over there in case you're like, that actually sounds good. So go ahead and look at it. And what I love, don't you, Elle, on reading that, I'm hearing a lot of, we're looking for this, we're looking for this. And that is the great part of what a podcast like this does and NKBA does, is connects people together.
Yeah, and if you want to be a speaker, let us know what your topic you would talk about, and we're happy to have that conversation. So I think these are great topics. Thank you for your insight and help.
And if you want to be a sponsor, NKBA Sales is a great way to go.
Pitching our podcast. Thanks, Jen. Awesome. So hopefully everyone has a great day, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Happy Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you.